Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Talent Mindset. Hashtag Talent and Talks, a string of fireside chats co curated by the LinkedIn Talent Solutions and the Economic Times. Get ready for an engaging chat where we delve into the world of talent management and HR innovation. Today, with the power of generative AI and process automation, HR is at the forefront of shaping workforce strategy and driving business success. We will explore how organizations are aligning talent with the ever evolving job requirements and fostering competencies for the future. Our esteemed guest, Jyoti Dadlani, Regional Head West India, LinkedIn Talent Solutions, will be in a power conversation with Satyadeep Mishra, Chief Human Resource Officer at Clever Tap. And together, they will share the insights and vision for the future. So, without any further ado, I'm going to dive right into the conversation with the dynamic duo. Also, for the viewers, we encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments as we embark on this learning journey together. So, Jyoti, over to you.
Thanks, Soumya. So, Satyadeep, firstly, congratulations on the Great Place to Work certification yet again.
Thank
I'm going to start by just checking in. What does talent mindset mean to you? And how has that really recently evolved? So, if you look at it in recent times, the last 2, 3 years, how has this evolved in the current skills context?
Sure. I think as a student of HR and people philosophy, I always feel that there are two aspects to any HR initiative program or structure or change management for that matter. One is the functionality aspect, which is how you design, how strong is your design. The second is vitality, which is how strongly willed you are, how strongly intentional you are about making it work because you truly believe that's going to help your employees and eventually your organization. So for me is when organization reaches a state wherein the vitality aspect has taken over the functionality aspect, you're doing stuff with an intention, with a purpose in mind, and you have some sort of a yardstick which would tell you that if you're going this path, you're going to kind of augment your talent brand, and if you go slightly ditto, you're going to kind of start depleting your talent brand that you have very carefully curated over a period of time. So that's for me is talent mindset. Since pandemic, I think things have changed significantly when it comes to how do we look at attracting, retaining and developing talent, right? I think the attention span is becoming less and less, especially, I don't think it's a generational issue. I think it's more to do with tech. But you're trying to grab the attention of, especially top talent with so many others, competing brands. So for you, I think at least for me, what I've seen in CleverTap is it's extremely important for you to kind of be very clear about what your brand is all about, as in what is your customer value proposition, right? And from there, work backwards to kind of make sure that you're getting like-minded people who truly believe in your customer value proposition and therefore would join the journey, than just getting fixed about skills only, because skills is something that can be taught, right? I mean, it might take effort, but can be taught. But mindset is very hard to be taught, right? So therefore, I think while the conundrum of figuring out the best fit or the culture fit and so on and so forth exist for a fairly long time since I joined HR 20 plus years back, but I think it's all the more relevant for us to kind of figure out how we solve for this puzzle, right? And how do we encourage the entire TA fraternity, right? A lot of young people, a lot of high potential talent there to start going beyond the CV and the skills, and how do you rate yourself on this skill on a scale of 1 to 5, because it's so much easier for people nowadays to kind of game that interview experience.
You brought up a very interesting point on employer branding. So it's not only a competitive marketplace, I'll say it's a complex marketplace because skills are just getting built while we're having a conversation. So how is employer, like what are you doing if you were to think about it, what are you doing to establish your organization's voice uh, and developing, say, your leadership's voice from a employer branding perspective?
Sure. I think the best part about Clever Tap is, and this is an employee speaking and the CHRO speaking, is I've been privileged to see multiple startups, but I think if there are a few who truly believe in a talent mindset coming from a founder's perspective and the CEO's perspective, I've seen that getting lived on a daily basis at Clever Tap. And the way I see that manifesting at Clever Tap is very strong focus on creating a value system, right? And when we created it a few years back, about 3.5 years back, and we created, a series of value immersion sessions so that people understand what it really means when it comes to their daily work. Um, I think I'm fairly convinced that not too many organization, have invested so much of effort creating these values bottoms up, right? Making sure there is enough investment to make people understand what that really means, and keeping the values at the heart and center of pretty much everything that we do, be it selecting leadership talent into the organization, or if there's a talent calibration happening, using that, right, as the last so-called vetoing parameter, saying that who is better than the other, right? And when you do that, it it starts to then percolate from top to the bottom, right? And I think everything that we've been trying to do is largely around making sure that we live by our values, and then of course a lot of focus on building career model and competencies which really work for the end users, right? And along with that, of course, the focus on doing the right compensation, the focus on creating a globally inclusive culture, because for SaaS, organizations out of India with global ambitions such as ours, you have to really start thinking globally, right? While a lot of design work might still be happening out of a Bombay or a Bangalore, your employees and your customers are global in nature, right?
Yeah.
So how do you start thinking about being inclusive
Yeah.
in every part of the design element that you're working on?
How does the branding effort change, right? I love it that you said the value system and it's top down, but how does it change as you think about different markets, right? You're also, as you said, managing out of India, but globally. How does it change in different markets?
No, while one can argue that it's becoming a global talent market, a global marketplace for talent, I think each country, each region has its own ethos and a set of nuances, especially around what culturally works for most folks, and the way it kind of translate for somebody like me who is trying to hire top talent across the region is to really understand if there are elements that you've talked about your culture or talked about your work, talked about your leaders, which appeals to the audience there, right? Or are there elements which would kind of create a dissonance, saying that, hey, the job description looks fancy, but I'm not sure whether it's my company, right? My kind of company, right? And often, without any wrong intent, you end up, doing or sending a few messages to the talent, pool that you're going after, that you are either very regional or you're not as liberal as they would like their future employer to be. Or, there are some common things that must be there, but it's missing in the value proposition, right?
Yeah.
So it is a continuous learning, right? This is it's not easy to kind of master that, especially when you don't have hundreds and hundreds of people doing research and telling you what needs to be done. So we're learning, and we're learning by listening to our colleagues in so many different countries that we have a presence in. We are learning by doing some basic reading on what is soft state dimension, and how does a country like Bulgaria look different compared to somebody like India.
That's a great share. I think apart from employee value proposition, I think it's important to build that culture of inclusion and walk the talk. So, congratulations and kudos on that. I was just curious to know, we are starting to see insights play an extremely important role in the way people are making decisions. So, how are you seeing, say, data and insights, say, on skills availability, skills gap, or even like future skills coming into play? So, how are you seeing that helping you, say, maybe build your workforce strategy?
So I think for us, a lot of things about skilling has been what would really help us craft a product which is truly a global product, which would work wonderfully well across so many different countries we're trying to help our customers in. And therefore, if I work backwards and start looking at skills and competencies, do I have, all the skills I need for today? And more importantly, do I have all the skills I need for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Anticipation is a tough skill to, master.
Yeah.
But we've been trying to kind of anticipate, how things would, change or shape in the marketer's life. And is our product ready to kind of, bring in the necessary impact that it needs to create? And then again, step backwards. Do I have enough skills or the right skills in place to kind of create a product which can create that impact, right? So we believe in taking a lot of inputs from the market and then ensuring that we craft our competency strategy, our upskilling strategy. We call this program Springboard. Obviously an element of leaping forward, right? And we work with the managers to figure out what are the 2 or 3 things that you expect your direct report to really pick in the next 6 months. We are like focused 6 months. Let's not think about 2 to 3 years. You never know what the world would look like at the end of it, right? So
Another thing we're seeing show up in a lot of our surveys and our reports is that internal mobility is a very strong driver
mhm.
uh, for both career development and retention. So I know you also have a relatively young workforce.
Mhm.
So curious to know, how are you helping build some of these learning journeys for employees, and how is it different as you start thinking of, consumption patterns from a learning content
Yeah,
perspective?
yeah.
And then how do you align it maybe to career goals? Because I think, as Gen Z is a little bit more, as a generation, focused a lot more on upskilling and advancement of career. And then how does that become more front and center as you start thinking about career development?
I think in my mind, there are a few things which are absolutely important, right? The learning, responsibility has to be with the employees, right? So if you do the mistake of making that the problem of the organization or that of the managers, then you would always be chasing an almost impossible dream of making your organization a truly learning organization. So therefore, how do we create a culture wherein we let people know that's important for them to learn, right? The simple elements of that is your job description, right? It starts from there. What is that you're communicating to the outside world as to the top 3 things which are important for this role, right? And from there on, as you move to the next element, which is your job levels, your career model, your competencies, letting people know that competency, proficiency for a particular level is not something that happens like overnight. That can be a line of work itself, right? Because there's so much of AI which is coming into that space to help people understand, what their current skill level, right? Defining, skill taxonomy, right? Making sure that there are auto recommendation which is coming basis your role and your career level and your aspirations. And so therefore, what's important is that organizations and managers, they know their space and their importance in this environment, because there's so much that is
Yeah.
coming, towards the employees, that unless you filter it out, make it reasonably action oriented and aligned to the business outcomes, you might end up creating more confusion for your workforce and your citizens than what you really intend to do, right? So therefore, for us, career model is one foundation. Managers upskillment, making sure managers do understand the role that they have in shaping the career for their employees. And finally, right, do you have HR processes and policies and frameworks which really support and they bring it all together, right? Internal mobility, you talked about it, right? And we have a very unique practice in CleverTap, and when I joined and I kind of got inducted into for the first time, and my first reaction was that, oh, I'm not heard about this. Tell me more, right? Wherein we encourage people to move, job families, and at times make some very, very strong switch, right? From an unrelated job family to a completely new job family, right?
Yeah.
And we tell people that, what, we're absolutely fine, right? But you should be open-minded to the fact that you're going to start as a rookie
Yeah.
in a brave new world, right? Good luck. You cleared our selection process, but welcome to the brave new world with a mindset that you're going to learn, right? So the importance of dialogue and making sure those dialogues are powerful and goal oriented are extremely important. Absolutely.
But thank you for sharing that. I think I'm gonna end with a very favorite topic. I think AI. So obviously we said that AI is a disruption and it's going to stay. It's going to change perhaps our roles in ways that we can't right now predict.
Mhm.
Probably get us a little, drive a lot more efficiency, drive new skill development for all of us. So uh, I think my question to you is, and obviously we said soft skills are also going to become a lot more important. So
Absolutely.
what role do you think AI is already playing or can play in the way companies are recruiting or upskilling employees at scale?
Sure. Um, so let's stay focused to the scope of the question.
Yeah.
Before that, we are obviously an AI company, so everything that we're trying to do at CleverTap, AI is at the front and center of it, right? And we're also trying to kind of make sure now it's accountable AI for our customers, right? So they know that by using this, this is the outcome that they can get. Coming back to the question you asked is, I think several things, right? If we kind of step back and talk about 2002 to 2005 sort of a time frame, wherein most IT consulting companies in India, right, grew multifold. Uh, that's where we started seeing the use of technology when it comes to scaling up processes, right? The market leading one obviously figured out their own platforms for large scale testing. And then you had Hacker Earth, Hacker Rank, Elite Most of the world who came in and they made their business, right? They grew lock, stock, and barrel with the growth of the industry. And what is happening now is how do you kind of grow beyond the simple workflow automations or some basic technology use cases to really understand your talent segments better, understand your employees better. Um, you know, um, CleverTap is into hyper personalization when it comes to really helping brands, personalize their messages for their customers. Um, Hopefully, at some point in time, I would love to see a platform which helps me, hyper personalize somebody's career journey, right? Hyper personalize somebody's rewards, aspiration. I think AI hopefully would allow us to do a few things going forward. It gives us more time to think and focus on human emotions while when that is getting automated. So hopefully HR folks would find more time to really interact and have meaningful dialogues with colleagues on the floor, and hopefully the EI element in the profession doesn't go down the drain with AI. Two, it helps us to figure out how to craft solutions which really matters for the targets audience that we're trying to create this product for, right? So hopefully some prescriptive stuff coming our way. And three, is already doing. I think there's a lot of use cases in HR and recruiting when it comes to generative AI. So how do we again make sure our existing platform, be it be like LinkedIn or be it be a assessment platform that I'm currently using or a learning solution that I'm using, really uses Gen AI to the best possible extent for organization to create custom content, custom engaging content, which would again the consumer of the content would find meaningfulness in. I think that's going to be my wish list for AI in HR and recruiting in the next 2 to 3 years.
Thanks for sharing. I think from the from customer and how products are evolving to the fact that how we need to look at it from a talent perspective and even from a skill development and learning perspective. I think at LinkedIn we are at the forefront of thinking how do we make upskilling a lot more in the flow of work, and how can we use AI to make it simple and have access, everybody have access to learning in their flow of work. So extremely well said, and I think that's where we see a lot of commonalities, and hopefully your dream is turning into reality as we speak and continues to turn into reality. But thank you so much for sharing, Satyadeep.
Thank you so much, Satyadeep and Jyoti, for this enlightening discussion and a very, very honest one. The eloquence and the insightful perspectives that you both shared have been truly remarkable. And of course, let's take a moment to appreciate the pivotal role of talent in shaping businesses and driving success in an increasingly disruptive landscape. So, no points for guessing that embracing digital technologies to craft agile HR strategies will enable us to enhance experiences, boost productivity, and foster career growth. A heartfelt thank you to our viewers for joining us today. Don't hesitate to reach out to our speakers for further exploration of this critical topic. Thank you so much, everyone, once again.